Welcome to Mount Lebanon High School. Thank you for joining us this evening for tonight's cum laude ceremony for the class of 2024. Our program will now begin.
Good evening to everyone gathered here tonight, and welcome to the 63rd Annual Recognition Ceremony of the Mount Lebanon High School chapter of the Cum Laude Society. I am Nadia DeRigo, representing the class of 2024. The Cum Laude Society is a national organization seeking to acknowledge superior scholarship at the high school level. This year, 80 members of the Mount Lebanon senior class will be recognized not only for their superlative academic achievement, but also for upholding the ideals of the Cum Laude Society: excellence, justice, honor, and truth. It is important to note that these four ideals are not fixed, stagnant textbook definitions. For example, excellence is not simply academic merit. Honor and justice apply to matters beyond the law, and truth is more than wrong and right because it also encompasses the feelings and motivations behind our thoughts and actions. Each day, we are forced to make decisions and are given the opportunity to reflect our unique values through our choices and actions. For each one of us, these broad, abstract concepts of the Cum Laude Society have a specific personal meaning in our lives. In line with that sentiment, you will hear from 4 students who will share their thoughts on the 4 areas that represent the ideals of the Cum Laude Society. Here to give you a brief overview of the society is Grace Goslin.
Good evening, everyone. In 1906, Dr. Abram W. Harris, director of the Tome School in Maryland, determined that scholastic achievement of students in secondary schools should be accorded as much recognition as that given to other accomplishments. He envisioned a society modeled after collegiate Phi Beta Kappa, which is one of the highest academic honors achieved by a college or university student. This society would likewise encourage and recognize true scholarship. Since Dr. Harris and his associates believe that chapters should be established only in 2 schools of superior academic quality, the group moved slowly in granting new chapters. By December 1908, charters had been granted to Tome, Phillips Exeter, Phillips Academy, Evanston, Penn Charter, Sedentary Collegiate, and Brooklyn Polytechnic, all schools for boys. In 1962, Mount Lebanon High School was honored to be granted a charter for the establishment of a cum laude chapter in District 3 of the 8 national districts. At the time, Mount Lebanon was the 10th public school to be granted a chapter. Of the 353 chapters in the United States, 327 exist in private schools and only 26 exist in public secondary schools, Mount Lebanon being one of the 26. Mount Lebanon is the only public high school in Pennsylvania to be granted a charter. During the society's existence, there have been no deviations from the original objective of the founder, namely the recognition of the superior scholarship. As mentioned, the 4 key words that represent the Cum Laude Society are excellence, justice, honor, and truth. Here to discuss excellence is Felix Yang.
Good evening. Now, I've been asked tonight to speak about excellence. And I'm sure we're all familiar with excellence by now, maybe even a little too much. It's that one thing that we've all worked towards, whether fueled by an incredible sense of self-motivation or, like many of us, dragged along by parents. But either way, we're aware of excellence in a basic sense. It's that feeling of being the best, being the most accomplished, being that person that everybody thinks is smart and hardworking. To be excellent in the way that got me to this podium meant hours of studying for subjects that I didn't necessarily care for, and working hard to learn skills I'd never use again. And maybe the most frustrating thing was that, in the end, I didn't really remember any of it. After all, I was learning and working for the sole purpose of good grades. Excellence was like a nagging parent, constantly reminding me to study, telling me to obsessively check my grades. I didn't necessarily want to be an A student. I was just afraid to be a B student. And this led me to believe that maybe the basic sense of excellence is wrong. It was wrong to think that there was anything bad about being a B student, or a C student, or a D student. It was wrong to think of the tasks I had as pointless assignments or useless skills. It was wrong to believe that grades and APs and SATs were real excellence. And this leads me to arete. Arete is excellence as the ancient Greeks defined it. Arete means understanding what your personal potential is and then reaching it. Because in the end, you gain more than just good grades. Arete is a trained habit gained through years and years of hard work and discipline. Every night of studying, every homework assignment completed, every question asked brings you closer and closer to arete. In the end, grades and test scores really don't matter. But the ability to cause change is what does. That's why you need to redefine excellence. Think about how hard you've worked to make it to this point. Think about how much you struggled in order to be here. And above all, think about how much you've improved because of it. Now, seeing that some of our teachers are here with us tonight, I'm sure all of you remember everything that you learned in their classes. But even if you forget stoichiometry or Ampere's law or how to take a derivative, you'll never forget arete. We are gathered tonight because we've worked to reach our full potential. We sacrificed, we struggled, but we never gave up. That's the power that it takes to cause change in the world. And because of that, congratulations to all of us. Now, as we go our separate ways to college and beyond, remember arete. Reach your full potential, chase your dreams, and make the world a better place. Thank you. Now, next to speak about justice is Adam Ash.
Justice is a singular idea that fundamentally separated the early years of our American Republic from the tyrannies of Europe. It stood for merit, that you should be rewarded based on how qualified you are and not onto whom you were born. It stood for freedom, that as long as no one gets hurt, you have the right to live your life as you please and not according to what pleases the government. It stood for democracy, that in return for having to adhere to the laws set by the government, you should be compensated with the ability to choose who creates those laws. Clearly, you, as did the founders, appreciate the importance of justice being the cornerstone of American society. But while it is easy to comprehend the meaning of justice in an elementary sense, i.e. compensating the individual based on the results of one's own actions, a larger question presents itself. How does one actually enforce justice? Thus, we take a trip back to the year that you all think about while you eat breakfast, 1786, the year of the great struggle between debtors and creditors. Western Massachusetts, the setting of this riveting tale, was full of poor farmers who, just 3 years earlier, had successfully fought off the British. Like any farmer, these former revolutionaries required loans in order to buy seed and livestock every year. However, for them, the need for credit was desperate, as many had their property destroyed during the war and were forced to start over from scratch. But alas, folks, there was a problem. They would never be able to obtain the cash needed to repay their loans because currency was rare to come by in a rural area such as theirs. Still, they demanded loans, hoping that just maybe the bonds that they were given by the Articles of Confederation government would have their interest paid, which never transpired. Well, now it was 1786, and without receiving any returns from the bonds and having no cash, our country's first soldiers faced foreclosure, feeling betrayed by the government for not receiving the brighter future for which they fought. Having lost everything, they did what they knew best. They took up arms. Starting with intimidating judges, attacking sheriffs, and breaking open jails, their aggression culminated in a 2,000-man-strong rebellion, led by Daniel Shays, the man for whom this rebellion receives its name. After the insurrection, closed courts in 3 different counties that were issuing foreclosures, the leaders of the armed group were arrested, with some even being hanged. Although these men broke the law, were they not justified in their own right? These were the men that won our independence. Should they not have been treated at least somewhat better, more fairly even? From the start, it seems as though the system was against them. They never had a chance to regain their livelihoods. So, was it just to punish them? Simply put, yes. Our nation needed to maintain the security of its credit if it ever wished to have a modern economy, of course, for practical reasons. Although it was the majority that was most harmed, ultimately, by protecting the rights of the minority, the creditors, we prosper today. Having now enlightened you all, let me return to my central question. How does one enforce justice? Fundamentally, we must strictly interpret the law. We must not allow for the scope of interpretation to become too broad, for too many unrelated factors to be considered. Because if we do not limit the scope to almost none, where then can we place it? Is it here? Is it there? We can't even quantify it nor qualify it. Any other scope just simply cannot be reasonably defined. No one is above the law. It does not matter if you are rich or poor, a veteran or a war protester, the minority or the majority. The law must apply equally to all. If some people receive preferential justice depending on the bias of the judge, tell me, how is that fair? We simply cannot have people shopping around for the most favorable judge because where would the appeals process end? Regardless of what the law states or how much it infuriates the majority, our system must not allow outside influences to make the innocent guilty just because it is more convenient to a greater number of people. By enacting the law for what it is, we can always rely on the law to protect us instead of being used against us in furtherance of other people's personal interests. And as a result, this allows for more people to exercise their freedoms, people that can help us bring about a better tomorrow, just like how protecting the rights of the creditors aided the formation of the modern economy from which you all prosper. Consequences should result from facts, not from emotional appeals. That, my friends, that is justice. Now to speak about honor is the illustrious Alexander Stefanov.
Thank you. Honor is defined, rather futilely, as high respect and great esteem. But as Dostoevsky once said, what is honor when you have nothing to eat? The conquest of honor is egotistical and dishonorable. Therefore, honor is paradoxical. Honor is dichotomous. Honor is a title given and not a title taken. In my elementary school days, I would go out of the country yearly to visit my family. In the villages and blocks of Eastern Europe, trouble and strife was always a given. I recall a particular afternoon on the community concrete soccer field when a fight broke up between the two opposing teams. Realistically, there was no danger for a bunch of children, but nonetheless, I felt myself needed to be involved. I involved myself in search of props from the children around me. Narcissistically, I believed that if I engaged in what I believed was wrong and put my own morals aside, I, as the American outsider, would be better accepted amongst my foreign peers. Instead, what I received was an expected scolding from my grandma and a phone call home to my parents thousands of miles away. What I failed to realize and recognize was that honor does not search for the honorous thing to do. To be honorable would have been to stick to my pacifistic ideals in spite of what everyone around me was doing and saying. And in trying to be honored, I acted dishonorably with the crowd. As we gather here today as distinguished students looking to make our parents proud, we can and should take a moment to appreciate all that we've accomplished and appreciate the dedication that has brought us here and the honor that we have brought to our own parents. But honor is sought constantly. Honor is not given indefinitely. Honor is earned through our actions in the daily. In ancient Rome, Catiline was a distinguished soldier known for his successful campaigns in northern Africa. Upon his arrival home, he was cherished among the people and was seen as honorable and noble due to his previous advances. Profiting off of his own honor, he tried his hands at politics, but proved to be a terrible speaker in the public eye with even worse policies. At a last-ditch attempt at martyrdom, he attempted a wildly unsuccessful coup d'etat against the state of Rome that unfortunately led to his own demise. Thus, just as Catiline returned home expecting to be cherished by the public invariably, and as I once sought honor at the expense of my own conviction, we too must look upon this moment with dignity and continue in our goals, without the expectation of static honor. As we leave here today, realize that honor changes the world. To be honorable is to act in spite of others and to do what is right outside of outer influences. Thank you. Now to speak about truth is Zachary Phelps.
At institutions like, is this thing on? At institutions like ours, truth goes beyond the answers to an exam or a list of terms in a textbook. Truth is a mission that we choose to accept every day. Truth drives us as students and educators. It pushes us to challenge ourselves beyond what is easily achievable. Truth demands that we face the difficult, uncomfortable realities of our world every day. And it invites us to explore every nook and cranny of this incredible universe that we live in. Truth calls us to grow as people and as learners, and you have all answered that call. You have relentlessly pursued knowledge for the past 4 years, and it's landed you here. But you aren't the first. You're just the latest in a long human tradition of learners, of scientists and discoverers, of builders and artists, that every generation push the limits of truth. Their collective contributions have brought us where we are today, to the peak of human achievement, to the zenith of our collective search for truth. As Isaac Newton put it, we only see further by standing on the shoulders of giants. What each one of you has learned about our world, our universe, and ourselves dwarfs even the greatest minds of centuries past. Consider a double helix of DNA, a differential equation, a line of Python code, or even the microphone I'm speaking in now. Historic breakthroughs in every field are a routine part of our daily lives, and knowledge is more accessible than ever before. That's why no generation in the history of our species has been better equipped to discover something that has never been seen before, to observe the unobservable, to achieve the impossible. We have access to resources, technology, and ideas that would defy the wildest dreams of our ancestors. And yet, there is still so much more to explore and learn. That is why it is our duty as students and as members of the human race to continue to push the limits of truth even further beyond. You're here because you share this hunger, this yearning for truth, and because you know how to find it. Approaching the end of our educational journey here at Mount Lebanon, we stand prepared to face the world's challenges, armed with 1,000 truths, and the willpower, intelligence, strength, and creativity to discover 1,000 more. So as you carry this pursuit of knowledge into your adult life, remember to heed the call of truth. Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Joel Thompson, our principal.
Good evening, inductees, parents, friends, and staff. Welcome to the Cum Laude induction ceremony for the class of 2024. My name is Joel Thompson, and I am the principal here at Mount Lebanon High School. It is my sincere honor to be here this evening, representing the faculty, staff, and administration as we recognize the exceptional accomplishments of the inductees. Tonight, we pay tribute to our seniors who have demonstrated outstanding academic achievement, as well as the drive and dedication to achieve the lofty standards set forth in the Cum Laude Credo. As we journey through life, we all have received assistance along the way. I am sure that these students are keenly aware that they probably would not have attained this honor without the encouragement, support, and love of family members and friends. For this, and on behalf of the inductees, I want to say thank you to our families and friends for your support and guidance during these high school years. Additionally, these inductees have benefited from the support, expertise, and wisdom of the faculty and staff at our school. Thank you to our staff for being role models to our students. Your contributions are an important element of what makes Mount Lebanon High School such a successful educational institution. To our seniors, your induction into Cum Laude tonight is an acknowledgement of the challenges you have overcome and the tremendous talent and skills that you have revealed over the past 4 years. I wish you well as you pursue your future endeavors. Our school, the Mount Lebanon community, and quite frankly, our society is counting on you to continue to be the leaders you have proven yourselves to be. Regardless of the field that you ultimately decide to employ your talents, you are our future leaders. As leaders, remember the 4 qualities that your classmates spoke about this evening: truth, justice, honor, and excellence. Let these qualities be the ones that guide your future. Preserve and extend onto others these qualities. If you do so, the world will be a better place. Again, congratulations. At this time, please allow me to introduce Mrs. Elizabeth Schneider, school counselor.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. At this time, I'm going to share with you the eligibility requirements for student membership into the Cum Laude Society, within limitations set by the Constitution of the National Society. Each chapter determines its eligibility requirements for membership. The following are the minimum requirements for the Mount Lebanon High School chapter. To have a minimum of 31 credits in required college preparatory academic mathematics, history, social sciences, languages, and English in grades 9, 10, and 11 in the first half of grade 12. To have earned at least a 3.9 weighted quality point average of A's and B's and no more than 1 C in the subjects on which quality average is based. According to the National Cum Laude chapter, a school can induct up to 20% of its senior class. Since we are limited to no more than 20%, this year a minimum of a 4.9 QPA average was needed to gain membership. This is quite impressive, students. If a late entrance into Mount Lebanon High School, the student must have spent at least the first semester of senior year at Mount Lebanon High School and must have met the credit and quality point requirements just described during the time spent at Mount Lebanon, as well as in the previous school attended in grades 9, 10, and 11. Dr. Thompson, each of the students who will be on stage tonight has met all of the eligibility requirements for membership into the Cum Laude Society. I am proud to recognize this group of scholars. Would each student please come forward as I read your name? The audience should hold their applause until all names have been called. Will the first 2 rows please stand? Caroline Olive Adams. Adam Ross Ash. Leah Elizabeth Bailey. Gabrielle Marie Boone. Julia Jane Brown. Maximilian James Bush. Ashlyn Rose Connolly. Nadia Lucen DeRigo. Beckham Layshock D. Julia Marie Descalzi. JC Daniela Ellis. Henry Knox Elwine. Lena Fang. Ryan Michael Frank. Ava Grace Gamba. Leah Lynn Gardner. Micah Julius Gill. Kirthy Garish. Nathaniel James Gerard. Maya Bryn Golden. Grace Hunter Goslin. Lily Grace Hackworth. Aiden Goodwill Hall. Miles William Halter. Daniel Joseph Hartman. Elizabeth Lauren Hepps. Quinn Addison Hughes. Tessa Isabella Imbarlina. Sarah Marie Incravati. Sadie Louise Joseph. Leah Marie Keene. Jack Kenneth Kramer. Logan Louisa Coleman. Fred Orlando Lasota. Tiba Laith Latif. Jacob Scott Lehman. Ellie Marie Lee-J. Alexander Gideon Levine. Caroline Elizabeth Mackin. Michael Zapala Malone. Kylie Marie McKay. Lily Ann Mira. Kathleen Ann Mooney. Brooke Ann Morosky. Amelia Hope Neems. Christopher Michael Nordwall. Paige Adrian Palishoff. Zachary Francisco Phelps. Catherine Renee Powers. Mary Elson Reinhardt. Aiden Paul Ritchie. Sage Elise Rohrbach. Arul Santoshi. Noah Jensen Seaman. Eli Jensen Seaman. Elizabeth Bahia Seifert. Ava Grace Smith. Kendall Rain Smith. Alexander Ongulov Stefanov. Kalina Sophia Strotmeyer. Henry Lee Zeffie. Tessa Medea Turnello. Emily Margaret Thomas. Jacob Maxwell Tinnemeyer. Amelia Rosemary Twyman. Eric Van de Put. Ria Verma. Ashley Way. Braden Anthony Wirtz. Annabeth Jerry Weston. Felix Sia Yang. Alif Yavin. Cooper Olin Zenther. Madeline Megan Zarega. Tai Zhang.
Can we have a round of applause for our 2024 inductees? At this time, it is my pleasure to induct the class of 2024 into the Cum Laude Society. Will the inductees please rise and repeat in chorus after me? To continue my pursuit of excellence in scholarship and all other endeavors, to maintain the high ideals and standards in all human relationships, to seek after truth, justice, honor, and excellence, and to uphold the status of the Cum Laude Society. I solemnly pledge my deepest devotion. Join me again in congratulating Mount Lebanon's newest members of the Cum Laude Society. Our ceremony will now conclude with a few words from Ryan Frank.
Receiving this recognition tonight is indeed an honor for us all. It is important that all of us, students and parents alike, commit ourselves in all endeavors of our daily lives to the principles of excellence, justice, honor, and truth. On behalf of all of the students, I wish to thank everyone who is here tonight to support us. We all realize that we would not be here on this stage this evening were it not for the patience, love, and support shown by our parents, grandparents, siblings, guardians, family members, and friends. The path to this stage has included some roadblocks, many of which may have seemed huge and insurmountable. Our class has faced a global pandemic, remote school, and canceled activities. Our entire freshman year was anything but normal. But through it all, you have provided us with a safety net that has enabled each of us to negotiate whatever obstacles have been put in our way. We are stronger because of your support, and we thank you. Please remain seated while the inductees proceed to the rear of the auditorium. Refreshments will be available in center court, and once again, thank you for attending.